Hi, hello globally, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with Danelle Boyles, and I'm coming to you from the United States. This talk is part of my Rayhan AI Teachers Training program to example how we can integrate AI as an assistive tool to our everyday usage of learnings, teachings, and development in education and knowledge expansion, adapting new skills, growth, and confidence, and in using technology tools in our everyday life. This talk is where we get into conversations that are launching pads for life change and inspiration. And today I have joining me for a very enlightening conversational interview Kevin Paul Hughes, also known as Kevin the Medium. And he is an experienced spiritual intuitive, medium, broadcaster, and media creator dedicated to helping individuals navigate grief, loss, and the spiritual connection. He is known professionally as Kevin the Medium, and he brings a grounded, compassionate, down to earth approach to mediumship, channeling, and personal transformation alongside his spiritual work. He is also an active broadcaster who co hosts in weekly shows and in a community grouped with, I believe, is it Angela Clement?
Yes.
Yes. And it is called Tuning into Truth. So, after you view this, you may want to go check out his links that you can find in the post connected to this live broadcast. So, Kevin, welcome. Welcome. It is such an amazing pleasure to have you join me for all kinds of reasons. And can you take just a moment to give a little bit of a further introduction of yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm going to take you way back. I am the youngest of nine children. Um, when when my mother was 8 months pregnant with me, my father crossed over, and so I never met my father in flesh and bone, and that's where my experience really started. Was having visitations. I used to call them when I was young. And I would sit and have conversations just like we're having today.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to my mom, a very strict Catholic lady. And I remember waking up one morning and I'm like, Mom, I had another visit with Dad. And she was like, Don't talk about that. That would be evil. That's not good. And I was like, Oh, zip it. So I did. Um, but that was really my first introduction to the spiritual aspect of life. Um, but it took me forever to really step into my path. I am now just about turning 62. I'll be turning 62 in a couple months. And it wasn't until I was 55 that I really stepped onto my spiritual path and decided after taking a course, I took a course, and 10 minutes into that course, everything fell into place for me. And I went, oh, this is what I was supposed to be doing. And I started a company. I called it at that time Cavelli Channeling, and started doing mini readings live on Facebook, similar to what live like we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just grew. Now, thousands of readings later. Um, I changed my company to Kevin the Medium. It's a better kind of describes who I am. Everybody would always go, Cavelli channeling, what's that? Now, when I call myself Kevin the Medium, people right away know, oh, you talk to dead people. Yes, that's what I do. I retired from my full time job. When was that? Last September. And now I do this full time and I'm loving life.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, we had mentioned before that we are fellowly grounded in the channeling world. So, as an individual who experiences the same similar phenomenon, it's always nice whenever we can relate to another individual who can relate to the world the same way that we can, or at least in a similar form of fashion. We're
Yes.
all different and we all experience things differently, but generally we have a very similar sense of familiarity, soul to soul. But it's a great pleasure for me to have you here to openly talk about this because it's still even excuse me, even today considered somewhat taboo, you know? And so being able to share with the world, you know, our gifts, which, sometimes they're very heavy laden gifts, but they are gifts, enjoying hearing from your point of view is going to help others better understand the experience, how, how we go about living life, being a channeler. And so you're not just a channeler, so there's many facets and fragments to you. You also are a podcaster and you do broadcasting. So tell us a little bit about your shows because you have multiple ones that you're involved with.
It was funny. I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and I'm like, all we seem to do is podcast now. Um, my love, we met through our spiritual community, and
Mm-hmm.
she is a grief coach, a Reiki master. I could sit for an hour and literally list off all the different modalities she has. So together we do a show. It's called um, Dear Universe. I had to think about that one. Dear Universe. It's a we do this show on Monday nights, and it's basically we take one topic, one question that we've been asked during the week, and we talk about it. We expand on it. It's very interactive. It's a live show. People ask questions as we're doing it. It's so much fun.
I love
Then I
that.
have my podcast that I do, which is very similar to what we're doing today.
Mm-hmm.
I love chatting with other spiritual practitioners and getting their journey, letting people hear their journey. And my hope is that somebody listens to it and goes, oh, that's me. I literally can relate to that.
Right.
And they start walking down their path because everybody has their own path. And then on top of that, I bring in a whole different aspect of my life, which is I'm a sports fanatic. I live up in Saskatchewan, Canada. It's
Mm-hmm.
a prairie province in Canada, in the middle of Canada. And I am a diehard football fan and a diehard hockey fan. So I host a podcast with my son on Wednesday nights talking about the CFL, which is a Canadian football league, similar to your National Football League. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, the NHL, we concentrate on the Vancouver Canucks, which is our favorite team. Then Thursday and Friday, I go on a national sports talk show with a gentleman named Rod Peterson, and I co-host that. I'm on there for about 40 minutes or so with him. So yeah, I podcast pretty much 5 days a week, and then I do readings somewhere in between. Oh, did I lose you? I'm not sure if I've gone away or if Danelle's gone away. I'm not really sure. If you're in the chat and you can hear me, let me know. Looks like Danelle has gone away, and I'm the one that's still live. I'm sure Danelle's coming back quite quickly, hopefully. Um, Interesting. Um, Shams says, hello, how are you? Hello. I'm hoping you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know in the comments. There she is.
All
She's,
right. We're literally going through a solar flare right now. Like I feel it just like pummeling in and I sit here and I always just say a little prayer. I'm like, please don't make my technology glitch. And it almost always does. I almost feel like it's because I intensify the energy because I take in so much of it.
well, and we are going through an eclipse tonight. I think it's tonight, the
Yes,
lunar
the
eclipse.
eclipse.
And they say up here we're going to be able to see the northern lights, which will be really cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we do have some individuals that are watching with us. So I just want to say hi and thanks for joining us, guys. If you do have any questions as we're progressing along, feel free to drop them in the comments. And like I said before, Kevin does have his social media links in the post. So if you want to get in touch with him after the broadcast, feel free. So please carry on. You were talking about sports and how one of your podcasts is geared towards sports and involves your family.
Yeah, my son. My
Mm-hmm.
son and I host a podcast on Wednesdays called the Hughes Sports Podcast. And then on Thursday and Friday, I join Rod Peterson on a national sports talk show across
Mm-hmm.
Canada and down into the States. He lives in Florida. He lives in Boca Raton, Florida.
Oh,
So
I'm a
yeah,
Florida
I
girl.
keep busy with that, and then on top of that, I'm doing readings, private readings through Zoom. When I
Mm-hmm.
first started doing readings, it was right in the middle of COVID, so we weren't allowed the face-to-face contact. So I
Right.
started using Zoom, and you know what? It's worked really well for me. I now have clients all over the world. So
It works perfectly. It's amazing.
yes,
I love being an international entity that I'm like connected all over the place. I can't get by without the technology that we use, you know?
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about your podcast that you do. The Now, can you itemize each one of them for us again so that we know the
So
titles?
I do the Dear Universe, which is a one I do with my girlfriend, Angela Clement. Um, that is my favorite one. That's the one that I enjoy by far, the one I enjoy the most. It is such an interactive, very similar to what I'm seeing with you here, where people are commenting on the chat, and we're talking about one specific topic. This week, our topic was ego. How does ego play into your daily life, and is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We get into some really heavy topics. It's fun. It's basically just two people talking about life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I totally appreciate that because, you know, individuals who are experiencing their growth process of what I have referred to and speak on as accelerated expansion the last, 7 to 10 years, don't always entirely understand what they're experiencing. Human expansion is a normal, everyday thing. Human design moves with cycles of the universe and planets in alignment, and you know, everything from the way we sleep to the way we eat to the way that we just navigate our daily life is kind of affected and is affected
Oh
by
yeah.
literally all of that. So it's very, yeah, I it's very important to be able to talk and engage and be open about it.
Well, and I find a lot of people are afraid of what we do. When people ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm a medium, and they look at me with that side eye a lot of times, and they're like, a medium, and I'm like, yeah, it's like an extra large, but one step down.
Right.
Trying to lighten it up. But when you actually break it down and tell them what you do, they like, oh, and they're
Yeah.
taken back. But what you and I do when we channel is literally normal. It is what we've been doing as a species for a
Right.
thousand, tens of thousands of years. It hasn't changed. It's just, I find now, especially in the last 5 years, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say it's become way more mainstream. People
Mm-hmm.
are starting to accept it as a form of counseling as such. But also, it's I always compare it to when I was young. I'm like I said, I'm 62. Back when I was 20, chiropractors were the kind of the sideline of healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't really trust a chiropractor.
Right.
Fast forward now, chiropractors are mainstream. Everybody goes to a chiropractor.
Right.
Massage therapy, the same thing. Now I'm finding mediums, energy work of all kinds are
Mm-hmm.
becoming more and more mainstream and accepted.
Absolutely. And I think circumstances like this, I've been speaking on this type of work for the last 5 to 6 years, in the beginning processes of like opening up and exposing all of this, and everybody just looks at you as if you're just completely crazy sometimes, but you listen to your intuition and you listen to your sources, and you listen to your guidance, and you do what you're supposed to do regardless of what anybody else thinks, because
Yes.
you're literally forced to. There's no choice in the matter. You have a purpose in what you do, and it helps individuals and the collective, and the whole universal process. It's a very huge part of integrating our our celestial gifts, our interdimensional gifts. We all have lifetimes of experience that we're integrating, and it's
Yes.
just so important to
And
be able to
I think it
access it.
I think it's important to let people understand that what I do isn't special. We all
Mm-hmm.
have different gifts given to us before we come down. If you want to use, I'm not a big fan of using that word because it gets misconstrued. But
Yeah.
I believe we can all channel. Matter of fact, I teach a course and teach people how to connect with their spirit guides.
I do
If
too.
we can, my goal one day is every soul on earth will wake up one morning and go, I want to tune into my spirit guide. Oh my God, what a beautiful place we will live in.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we don't follow them 100%, and even myself, who's been doing this for 6 years, have done thousands of readings for other people,
Yeah.
I still sometimes, when I channel with my guides, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that today.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down this path instead. And
Mm,
they're like, okay,
yeah.
it's your choice. We have that. We have that right. We have that freedom of choice
Still
here
have
on
free
earth.
will.
Free will. It's a massive failure, but we still
Yeah.
have it.
Sometimes we utilize it more than what we should, and we steer very hard left when we should be going right. But that is the
And
nature of
everything
life.
changes when we do that.
Yes. So,
Yes,
excuse me. I'm sorry. I have a itchy throat today.
that's okay.
So do you have any particular stories that stand out to you that you would like to share with us, like some a part of your journey that was incredibly impactful on like who you are and how you navigate?
Yes, my favorite is when I was introducing myself and I was telling the story of my visitations with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
When mom told me they were evil, I just zipped my lip. I didn't talk about them. That doesn't mean they stopped. I still had the visitations, and I can still to this day tell you exactly where they were. They were on these marble staircases, big glass building behind us, and the staircases were tall. I remember them vividly, like I could look this way and see them. And I remember years later meeting my wife at the girlfriend who became my wife and telling her the stories. She was very spiritual. She grew up next to a very famous psychic here in Canada. So she
Mm-hmm.
was totally open to all this, more so than I was, to be honest. I tried to shut it down through my teenage years just because it's tough. You didn't want to be different, but I always felt things, heard things, saw things other people didn't admit to. And notice
Mm-hmm.
the words I said there, didn't admit to.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, we get married, we have two kids. We're off on holidays one year, and she's reading a book from Sylvia Browne. And
Mm-hmm.
in that book, Sylvia Browne, for people who don't know, world famous psychic, has long since gone home. And in this book, she describes the other side, and she literally describes the exact spot where I would sit and have a conversation with my dad
Mm-hmm.
in detail, just like I did just now. My wife hands me the book and says, you got to read this. And I'm like, what? She goes, just read this paragraph. And I did, and it freaked me out. It was like, whoa. I remember throwing the book across, and I was like, how can two people who've never met describe the exact same spot if it
Mm-hmm.
was made up, if it was pretend world? Hmm.
Well,
Even then, it just amazes me when I look back now. Even then, it took me decades before I would walk down my path. Um, and I often wonder what would have happened if I walked down my path prior to 2020. Let's say I did it in 2000. Wow. How much of a difference would it have made? I am a big believer in everything happens for a purpose and on divine timing. So I wasn't meant to walk down my path back then. They gave me little seeds, kept me interested, just like just a little carrot in front of you. Come on, follow
mm-hmm.
us. Because they know they knew that I was kind of a stubborn guy. I was before getting before 2020. I was very heavily involved in politics in Canada.
Oh,
2019, I
wow.
woke up one morning and I said, I need to walk away from all this.
Mm-hmm.
People were shocked. They were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just know I can't do this anymore. It's too much for me." And then 2020 is when I took this first course. Um, and then it all made sense to me. It was like, I couldn't have been that guy
Mm-hmm.
walking down the path that I am now. It's funny. I was just saying to my girlfriend, Facebook memories come up, and I look at some of the things I used to post, and I'm like, "Ooh, I should go back and apologize to these people."
Were
It
you
was
a
like
little mean back then?
a little, well, blunt. I use the word blunt sometimes,
Yeah, that's funny.
but we
So,
all have those stories where it's like we could have taken that path, and what would it have done? I
yeah.
I'm not a big believer in you missed something. I believe no decision is a wrong decision. The only wrong decision is not making the decision.
Hmm. I agree, and since I have currently a much more understanding of like interdimensional processes, as that's part of my gift is I see and experience things interdimensionally, you know, and how time operates and it's not linear at all.
Yeah.
You have a better understanding of, those wrong turns aren't always wrong turns, they're just detours, or, sometimes you have to go back to, the same moments in time to make corrections. There it just it's a funny thing the way it is.
Yes, I have one of my very best friends in the world. He's, I guess he's 11 years sober now. And he
Mm-hmm.
quite often beats himself up for wasting so many of his years. And I went, you can't say you wasted them. He is now a sober coach. He
Yeah.
helps many people once they want to become sober. He helps them. And I'm like, you couldn't do that if you hadn't gone through what you went through. So everything for a reason. It doesn't, I mean, we can get really deep. And I mean, we make a plan. I believe we make a plan before we come to Earth. And it's kind of our blueprint or our map of life,
Mm-hmm.
if you want. And so a lot of times we will decide, I need to go through this. And unfortunately, we're not entitled to know why until we
Yeah.
go home. And then we get that universal knowledge. And it's like, oh, that's why I had to go through all this horrible stuff on Earth that
Mm-hmm.
no human should ever have to go through. But we went through it for a reason. And I'm a big believer in everything's an experience, good,
Absolutely.
bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
We're here. That's why we're here. We're here to live the experience. And it's how we react to those experiences that really count.
Yes, I agree. I do. So, can I ask you a couple more questions? Do you
Oh
mind?
my goodness, fire away.
So, what do you find that triggered or inspired your major growth in your intuitiveness?
I I love this story. I was, I'm going to say, coerced into taking this course. I talk about the course I took. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the lady I was with had followed this gentleman. His name is Ken Lewicki. He teaches full time. That's what he does. He teaches people to channel. And she had suggested it a couple times. We should take this weekend course. We should take this weekend course. And I was always busy. I'm always busy doing something. If I'm bored, it's not a good thing.
I get that.
And we had always been busy. COVID
Mm-hmm.
hit. We were in 20, and it was July 12th, 2020. And just before that, she said, "Hey, Ken's having his course this weekend. We should do it." And immediately I went, "No, we're busy." Oh, we're not busy. We're stuck at home. Literally, I was a salesperson at the time, and I was laid off because of COVID. So I had no more excuses. I was cornered, and I went, "Fine, I'll take the course." I took the course, and I'll never forget it. 10 minutes or so into the course, everything fell into place for me. It was literally a eye-opening. It was that aha moment, if you will. All the bright lights hit me. And sorry, I get emotional when I talk about it.
It's
It was
okay.
one of those things that you just can't deny, because it was like, wow, okay, I get
Mhm.
it. Wow.
Yeah.
He offers all kinds of courses. I took all his courses, took a 6 month mentorship with him,
Mhm.
and I dove headfirst, blinded, really, because I really didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. I knew I felt things, heard things, saw things. Other people didn't, but I didn't know I could do what I do. It
Right.
wasn't until in his level 2, he teaches you to do readings for other
Mhm.
people's. I like that. And
I like the term people's too. It's fun.
and it came so naturally to me. It was just like blah, 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 and people were like, and I was like, wow, I can do this.
Mhm.
So I just ran with it because, and I tell my clients this all the time, I get just as much, if not more, out of doing a reading than you do. It
Yeah.
fills my soul. There's nothing I've ever done in life, 6 decades of life, nothing I've ever done has fulfilled me as much as what I do now fulfills me. And I was told a long time ago, if you could do something you love, it ain't work. I
That's right.
consider myself retired. My girl and I travel the world, and this is what we do.
So, what was one of the hardest channelings that you've done, if you don't mind sharing?
Ooh, probably but yeah, it's 2 days ago was the anniversary of losing my best friend in the world.
Pressure. I'm sorry.
He was. We met when we were in grade 11, and 11 years ago, he left us, and I call it home, just for we can put whatever label people want it, the astral realm, the other side, heaven. That's where
Mhm.
he went 11 years ago. And I remember just after I started doing what I was doing, his sister, who we've stayed in contact, they're like my second family, wanted me to do a reading for her. And that was by far the hardest reading. Um, the funniest at times, because he was a practical joker, and but heavy, heavy, heavy. It was tough. The other one that
Mhm.
really stands out was a reading with my sister,
Mhm.
and she wanted to connect with my dad. She was, I think she was 13 or 14 when dad crossed over. And dad, when he crossed over, he doesn't have a lot of, he doesn't deal back on earth a lot. So to connect with him isn't like connecting with a regular soul. It's tougher. And I had to tell her that, and she didn't like it. She
Mhm.
And it's always hard when you have to give a message that people don't really want to hear, but you just get that, I have to tell you this. And I tell my clients, it's not always what you need, it's what you want. It's not always what you want, it's what you need to
What you
hear.
need.
And
Well,
there's been so many times that
yeah.
it's like, ouch, oh,
Yeah. You're very, like we were saying earlier, you're just very pressed to express, to speak on, to share, to clear. Like we were talking about the cold case earlier. Um, it took me months of being pushed by my guides and my higher self to go and actually take action on what I had channeled, and so
yes,
it can be very hard because when you're approaching a family that has lost a loved one so long ago, it's like how are they going to receive what you have to say, you
yes.
know and that's
Especially when it's they're not reaching out to you, you have to reach out to
yes.
them at that point.
Yeah,
That's,
and I'm
yeah,
sure you've had many occurrences like that where you have to reach out to people because I mean you walk by people and experience things.
You know what? I've made it a point that I will never give an unwanted reading. Um, I tell people, I'm not here to prove to you what I do is real. If you're willing to hear a message, I'm more than happy to pass a message.
Right.
But I mean, I'm sure it happens to you where you're at a restaurant and the waiter or waitress is there and their grandma or their mom, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. You can't make me. I
There are
think
times
twice.
I,
I
I
think
do
twice in so
yeah.
far that I've been pushed to the point of I will pull out my card and say, look, this is what I do. I have a message if you were willing to hear it. If you don't want to, walk away. And both times they were like, oh, what's a message? And I will give them the message. But it's something I try my best not to. In your case, where you have that, and I'm thankful it hasn't happened to me, where you get that cold case or that soul that comes from nowhere and goes,
Yeah.
you and I need to chat. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, ooh, that's a tough one because you're
And that's what a lot
literally,
of mine are too. Yeah.
yeah, no, luckily mine are mostly trying to help people through that process we call grief.
Yeah.
And that's most of the people that come to me, that's where they're coming for.
For
It's funny,
closure.
somebody in the chat asked me, what's it like to channel your parent?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very lucky. And this is going to sound dumb, but I'm very lucky because I get to channel my mom and my dad. My mom crossed over 8 years ago. She was 94 and 3/4. She passed
Wow.
3 days before her 95th birthday.
Amazingly long life.
And people are always like, oh, what did you go of? 95. It was 95. That's a long life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny. She's here now. And when she comes in, she makes me smell this perfume.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 13, I bought her a bottle of Avon perfume. It was giant. I was so proud of it. I had a paper route. I bought it with my own money. It was the worst smelling perfume you've
Oh
ever smelled.
no.
But
So
she
you have
wore it all the time because
and that's what you have to
she was
smell all
so
the time,
touched.
huh?
So I smell it now. She's like, you're going to smell this.
That's hilarious.
But I have also lost 3 brothers. Being 62, there was 9 of us. Of course, some of my brothers have now crossed over. I get to connect with them. People ask, well, like, do you miss them? I'm like, how can I miss them?
Yeah.
Anytime I want to chat, they're there. It's a different connection. It's a better connection. To be honest, it's because we don't have these two brains conflicting anymore.
Right.
It's a soul to soul connection that is just totally. When I first time I connected with my mom, I cried. I cried like I've never cried before, and not sadness, no sadness whatsoever, just pure joy because it was, wow, what a connection. I thought we had this cool connection, me being the youngest of 9. Mom and I had a really cool connection. But now, oh, it takes it to a different level. When you can connect with your loved one, and I tell people I'm the greatest salesman for my business ever. You don't need me. You can learn to do what I do. You can channel yourself if you so choose. It's just a matter of tuning in and really listening without these.
Well, and what a lot of people don't understand is, especially when you're an individual that is moving into your like awakening process, you're literally channeling yourself in higher realms. You know, like you are channeling yourself in the spirit realm all the time. You know, that's where that internal voice comes from. You know, that, you know, when you ask for discernment and an answer, you know, your higher self, and it doesn't really ever go away unless you make the integration into higher dimensional form.
Oh yeah.
So it's always there in some form or another. So, you know, individuals are channeling and they don't realize it.
Well, and when I say we've been channeling forever, people used to call it intuition. Oh, I'm using my intuition. Where do you think you're getting your intuition from? It doesn't just come from blah. You're literally, like you said, you're connecting, whether it be with your spirit guides or, like you said, your higher self. I'm a big believer in our soul as a whole doesn't actually leave the spirit realm.
No,
Um,
no.
they're there in a dormant state while we're down here. And it's like the only way I can explain it is we're in a big VR, the virtual
Yes.
reality. All the souls that are on Earth right now are part of this big virtual reality,
Mhm.
and we're intermingling within that virtual reality. And we made plans.
Right.
Believe it or not, you made plans with different souls to connect when you come down here. I know for a fact when I first saw Danelle's post, I knew instantly we would connect and we would do a podcast together.
He
Um,
was like,
because,
I know her. We're doing this.
well, and it was instant to me. It wasn't even a question.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't do a lot of interviews. I'm not interviewed a lot. I do a lot of interviewing, but I
Mhm.
don't do a lot of interviews. But I knew, okay, this is part of the process. Let's go through it.
Mhm.
And it's little contracts that we've made are the most important ones. That little contract or that
Oh, absolutely. Like,
connection you make at the corner store or at the
yeah.
grocery store that can literally change someone's life. I remember I lived in Calgary, downtown Calgary, Alberta. It's a city of about 1.5 million people. And my guides wanted me to do an experiment and just walk down the street. It was the major street in downtown, and say hi and smile to everybody I walked by. It was a Sunday afternoon. And I was like, that's ridiculous, but I've surrendered. I'm going to do it. And I did.
You're
And
funny.
what a weird experience. Going down from homeless people to
Mhm.
business people as you're passing them in the street and saying hi and smiling and seeing their reaction.
Yeah.
It was it was a neat experiment. Those little connections change the world.
Well, it truly does. And, being an individual that channels, I channel a lot of potential, like, violent stuff too, which is not what most channelers want to or even really experience, but I channel anything extremely low vibrational to clear the energy of it. So, I, again, the same, you just have to listen to that discernment because we're intended to cross paths, and sometimes those individuals are in a compartmentalized space that they need just a little bit of help
Yes. Well,
pulling them
if
out of. Yeah.
you
But
take that soul that your cold case that you decided, I feel it in my bones. I need to pursue this.
oh, it haunted me, Kevin, for a year before I finally got to do anything with it. And I hate to
Now
be
you
so
got to remember, a
but
year in our time compared to a year over there is like that. They don't have time. It doesn't
yeah,
exist. But
and it just took, like, it was just, yeah, we'll have to have a conversation on
you change
that.
people's lives by doing that. You gave people closure. You were able to, even though I know it hasn't been solved, but you gave people that, oh my gosh, she's okay.
Yeah. Well, and that was the whole thing, even if I don't ever get to have closure with them on it, I knew that my whole purpose was to help clear the pain and the unseenness. Nobody ever did a search and rescue for her. Nobody ever did. It wasn't largely public, and so it was almost like we did that, and then there was a search. Chaos divers
Yes,
came and they did did diving, and it was on the news, and things that didn't happen when it was supposed to. And
exactly.
Kevin, I hate that I'm gonna have to call our conversation short because we're going on 40 minutes and we could talk for 2 hours here, I'm sure. But I am going to say that we are going to extend this conversation another time. Do you
I
have
might
anything
just reach out and bring you on my podcast and we can
Absolutely.
continue
I
it.
would love that. Absolutely. Before we do close out, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about your journey and your story?
My story's not special. My story is just
Yeah.
a normal, everyday guy. I usually wear a hoodie in the winter, and I always say I'm just a kid in a hoodie doing what they ask me to do. I'm not special, and I'm just basically I'm a vessel that
Yeah.
they've chosen to use. And if you feel like you're called, I believe Danelle said the links are in the comments. You can reach out, message me. I'm always available.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to talking again. We will have to do this again, and not just talk about like ourselves, even though you are fascinating, but talk about more about things that individuals need to have support and understanding of, giving them a pathway of openness to be able to be comfortable in a space to be who they are,
Yes.
very much so. Do you have any words of wisdom for anybody that's watching that is experiencing loss, or they're experiencing the need to expand on their journey?
Yes. Live in the now.
Mm.
There's no such thing as the past, and there's no such thing as the future. It is 2:59 on August 27th, in my time zone. There 2:58 is already passed. It doesn't exist anymore. 3 o'clock doesn't exist yet.
You're
Spend
correct.
your energy in the now.
Yeah, be in the now. I agree. Oh, as as much as we do time hop and navigate through a non-linear world, be in the now and be in the moment.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone who has joined us today. I hope you take away some wonderful growth and expansion from our conversation. And until next time, namaste. Thank you so much, Kevin, and
You're more than welcome.
soon. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Take care. Bye.
Bye.